A very good morning to viewers all across the world. Welcome to your Poetic Interlude on the Weekend Show. My name is Emeka Ozorumba, and last week when I was reviewing the book, I promised you I'm going to get the author of the book, The Dogs and the Baboons, Dr. Alwell, Uwazurike, and he's with me on the program today. Doctor, good morning. Could you hear me?
Good morning, I can hear you.
Thank
you for having me on the show.
Yes, yes. So today we're going to be going straight off to talk about Section 34 of the Nigerian Constitution, which talks about the right to dignity. Interestingly, in your book, I noticed also that in the Criminal Code Act 1990, Section 295 of the Penal Code says a blow or other force not in any case extending to a wound or grievous harm may be justified for the purpose of correction as follows. A father or mother may correct his or her legitimate or illegitimate child being under 16 years of age for misconduct or disobedience to any lawful command. So with this in the Constitution, it says that parents have rights to assault their children. I look at this thing in a way as saying that if people can fight for the rights of women and saying that men should not hit women, why should men hit children? What do you think about that?
That's a very, very good point,
Yes.
which is why I say that the right to dignity is not sufficiently protected
In our
the Nigerian
Constitution.
Constitution.
Yes.
It's very curious because very importantly, I believe that when you beat kids
Yes.
from their adolescence,
Yes.
we may as well be training hardened individuals who go on to inflict pain to other people because they have been trained, they've been taught that it is okay to beat and dehumanize people.
Yes.
That we are stronger than.
Yes.
It's very, very curious that the age limit is pegged at 16.
Yes.
So as long as you're above 16, you can no longer be corrected physically, which is quite interesting. If we cannot cane people older than 16, why are we caning young children below 16? So I think this is more or less developing a culture of
hardened people, aggression. Okay, Doctor, you say in page 77 that we should teach children human rights, because you say imagine the society we'll have if everyone was taught to respect human rights right from infancy, if every child was taught the concept of equality, freedom from discrimination, if everyone was taught the principle of human dignity and the need to respect the integrity of human life. Imagine if we were taught this in primary school in a subject dedicated to human rights, and then we were made to answer exam questions on it. Imagine if this knowledge was again reinforced in secondary school. Would that not be a step in the right direction? What do you think about this statement? Because this is a very critical claim to supporting human rights in our society. Removing history alone was a decapitation of a sort. Then infusing human rights, to me, I think it's a very wonderful association of humanity. So what do you think about that?
Yes, certainly. I think human rights should be taught in schools. I mean, in primary schools. I studied law, and the first time I was taught about human rights was in my final year at university in Nigeria, in my 5th year, to be precise.
Yes.
And I think lack of knowledge is one of the reasons why we have taken the backstage with regards to human rights. People don't know their human rights. People think it is right for the police to come and slap you on the neck because you're suspected of being a Yahoo boy, and you cannot even press charges. You cannot, claim that your rights have been infringed. People think it's right for a rich man or your landlord to maltreat you, or for one teacher in school somewhere to cane you till you're bleeding. So I think we should take this opportunity and start to educate kids right from primary school, because the situation is that bad. It is really that bad. We need to teach them, you have a right to life. You have a right to dignity. You have a right to liberty, to security. And if we can inculcate these values in kids from a very young age, then I think it will take time, to take years to instill these virtues in everyone.
In the Bible, Doctor,
in the Bible, their rights and hopefully.
Doctor, in the Bible, we talk about spare the rod and spoil the child. In English language, that is 2 meanings. In English, we have syntactic and we have semantic meanings. Syntactic meanings is how the words are arranged to form grammar structure. Semantic meaning is how the meanings affect. For example, spare the rod and spoil the child could be interpreted in two ways. It could mean spare the rod, don't use the rod, spoil the child, allow the child to learn, or spare the rod and spoil the child, which is the way Nigerians interpret it, which is use the rod on the child and make the child do forcefully what you had heard. Now, that is one point. Another point I really need to talk about is the certificate. For example, you're saying that we should treat our fellow Nigerians like certificates, like how they treat a certificate. You can't let rats eat it, anything. So we should treat each other just like certificates. That was very metaphorical. So this is our last note. Could you just give me a little on that insight?
Okay, yeah, very, very good. First of all, let me touch on spare the rod and spoil the child. I don't believe people should be hit with rods because there's no evidence to show that hitting people with rods shape them into better people. If not, why are youths living in droves to other countries where they don't cane their kids?
Yes.
If using the rod makes a good country, then why are we in such a mess that we are in now? Yes. We cane all the bad people, all the criminals in prisons were caned as kids. Yes. It didn't stop them from being prisoners. Yes. Or criminals. Sorry. And on the on your second point, which is the certificates, yes, I was talking about human dignity there. So you see, if I go to buy corn at a stall and I'm giving the corn or roasted plantain in a newspaper, I'll go home and toss the paper in the bin, right? Because it means nothing to me. Paper is worthless, right?
Yes.
But my certificate, I will go and laminate and keep in my safe. They are both two kinds of papers, right? But I hold one paper in high esteem because it is my degree certificate. I'll need it in the future for job interviews, etc. So I am treating two kinds of papers differently because one of them holds value for me. And this is my argument. If human life in Nigeria can hold value, then we will be treated differently by the government. So I'm advocating for human rights to have real meaning, just like certificates, and for the government and the people themselves to treat other human beings as having that integral, intrinsic value.
Okay, thank you so much for coming to the program, Doctor. You're in the UK and you're a lecturer in the University of Lancashire, so you're purporting Nigerian human rights there, so I hope you do justice to us there. Thank you, Doctor, for coming on the program. My lovely audience all around the world, I hope you have enjoyed watching your Poetic Interlude on the Weekend Show. I've just been with Dr. Uwazurike from the University of Lancashire, and this has been his book, The Dogs and the Baboons. So please, try and get your copies. And today, Andy Madaki was looking so fabulous with his blue attire, so was Didi. Please, they have more coming up for your political segment. Don't go anywhere and stay tuned. We have more coming up for you on The Weekend Show.